Hey everyone, I'm Mila, I'm a type 1 diabetic, and today I'm going to finish talking about the treatments for type 1 diabetes. Again, this video is kind of medically, so if you think you have type 1 or any other kind of medical, if you think you have any other medical condition, please go see a doctor. I am not a doctor, this is not a replacement for a diagnosis or anything like that, and not like well, doctor, she said you should be doing this. Everything's different on a case-by-case basis. Your body could react differently to certain things and all that kind of stuff. So this is just the information I have found that I have experience with. And I figured it might be helpful to some other people who might be going through some similar things. Also, this video is called All About Type 1 Diabetes Part 3 for a reason. If I say diabetes, assume I mean type 1, not necessarily both type 1 and type 2 or any other type of diabetes. I'm speaking specifically about type 1 because that's what I have and that's what this research is on. So, all of that out of the way, first I want to say I'm back in my dorm. I moved back this week. So yeah, I'm filming this on Saturday. You guys will be seeing this tomorrow. And I wanted to film it earlier, but things were busy because I was packing and moving for most of this week. So I'm back here now. So yeah, no, let's get into the video. Okay, so last time I talked about diagnosis and I started talking about treatments. I primarily talked about insulin and different ways insulin can be delivered to you. And today I'm going to be talking about different types of treatments that aren't insulin, because there are lots of ways to help treat type 1 diabetes. So there are other medications that could be used to treat type 1. This might not be necessary, but it kind of depends on how the person is affected by type 1. So if you have a high blood pressure, if you have a high blood pressure, and it's continuous, it's not like a one and done type of high blood pressure thing. It's like you always have this high blood pressure when you go in. You will be prescribed a medication for it. Obviously, this is the case with everyone. High blood pressure can cause organ damage, like your kidneys, and type 1 diabetes can help aid that organ damage, just because, if you have really thick blood and if you have sugar in your blood is thicker, meaning it's harder for you to pump it, your heart to pump it. It's easier for your organs to be damaged. So yeah, you might be put on a high blood pressure medication. Similarly, you may also have to take aspirin or other blood thinners. Aspirin can help keep your blood thin, which would make it easier for your heart to pump it. Cholesterol control is also super important with diabetes, and because meat is something that you can eat with diabetes without having to count carbs for it most of the time, it's really easy to have too much cholesterol in your system. So the guidelines are slightly based off of what is considered a good cholesterol number versus a not good cholesterol number, because diabetics are more at risk for heart disease. They're at a high risk for heart disease. The American Diabetes Association recommends an LDL, which is bad cholesterol, to be under 100 milligrams per deciliter, and good cholesterol, HDL, to be over 50 milligrams per deciliter for men and over 40 for women. They also suggest that your triglycerides, which is another type of fat that is in your blood, should be under 150 milligrams per deciliter. So those are the numbers that your doctor might be looking out for. Again, this is from one source. The numbers that your doctor's office uses might be slightly different. Just a heads up. So another aspect of diabetes that probably a lot of people think of when they think of any type of diabetes is blood sugar monitoring. So if you have type 1 or type 2, you have to know what your blood sugar is just so that you can kind of keep it in check. Your endocrinologist will tell you how often you need to check it. And when I didn't have a CGM, I was checking it before every single meal and at bedtime, which corresponded to when I needed to take insulin. You should also check your blood sugars before and after, and potentially during activities that could lower it. So for me, driving lowers my blood sugar sometimes. Driving makes me really nervous, so my blood sugar does weird things while I drive, so I need to keep an eye on it. Also, while you exercise, you need to keep an eye on it because exercising can drive your blood sugar low, and it's important to not work out to the point where your blood sugar is going nuts. So you should keep an eye on it while you're exercising. And if you want a snack, say you're a little bit peckish throughout the day, you should test before and take insulin for that snack if your blood sugar is not in a good range. So if you're holding steady at 100 or 110 or something, and you eat a snack, take insulin for it so that you don't cause a blood sugar spike. If your blood sugar is too low, go ahead and eat a snack. Just don't go a super high carb snack. Do something a little bit lower. If you're low, just not. It's hard to explain. If you're a little bit low, you eat a snack. But you don't want to have a snack that's too high in carbs or you'll spike. But if you eat a snack that's not high enough in carbs, it won't do anything to your blood sugar. So it kind of just depends on how well you know your body, what kind of snack you eat. But test your sugar before you eat a snack just in case you're super high and you don't want to cause your blood sugar to go higher. That's what I'm trying to say. So I use a continuous glucose monitor. So I have a little device that's implanted into my stomach, with a little cannula in my body that measures my measures my blood sugar every 5 minutes. That's really useful because it just sends it automatically to my pump, and my pump can make corrections based off of that information. So if it says, oh, her blood sugar's going down, my pump can start giving me less insulin so that I don't crash. On the opposite side of that, if my blood sugar is going up, it can give me more insulin so that I don't get too high. So that's really nice. But you can also use a glucometer. And I was going to show you it, but it's packed away still. It's put away, but it's far away from where I'm filming, so I don't want to get up and disturb all of the things I have in my way. Because I've got my camera, I've got my tripod for my I've got my mic, I've got my tripod for my camera, and I've got a light behind the camera. So I don't want to move all of that stuff just to get it. A glucometer is the thing that you use to prick your finger with and measures your blood. It's a little bit more accurate than a CGM. I will be doing a video about the differences in glucometers and CGMs eventually, just not right now. So if you don't use a glucometer, so you'll probably either use a glucometer or a CGM. I use a Dexcom G6 CGM. So yeah, and it's been proven that using a CGM does lower your A1C, which is really good for diabetics. Another important facet of having type 1 is managing your carbs and your diet. So if you're diabetic, you should go to a dietitian to get help and advice about what you're eating. I know when I was first diagnosed, my first endocrinologist had me go to a registered dietitian that knew all about diabetes and was helping me figure out, oh, you eat in a dining hall because you're in college. If you look at this size of your hand, that's about whatever measurement she said. It's hard to remember because that was 2 years ago. So there's no such thing as a diabetic diet. My doctors have told me several times, you can eat whatever you want as long as you take the carbs to account, or as long as you take the insulin to account for your carbs. So I count my carbs at every meal, punch that number into my pump, and it gives me insulin for it. It's really helpful. Some sites that I saw suggest having a diet based on low-fat, high-fiber foods like fruits and veggies and whole grains for your carbs, because they also suggest, so these sites also suggest eating fewer animal products and refined carbs. So refined carbs are like sugar and white bread. However, it's always up to you and your dietitian to really like look at your other food restrictions and make a plan for you. So regardless of your diet, you need to count your carbs. This is really easy on prepackaged foods, as you can look at the nutrition label, read the total carbs line, and read the fiber line, subtract the fiber from the total carbs, and that's how many carbs you're eating. Add everything up that you're eating and take insulin for it. It's a little bit more tricky when you're eating home-cooked food, which is healthier for you. What I usually do is go online, say I'm eating broccoli as part of my dinner. I will measure out like a cup of broccoli, put it on my plate, look up carbs in a cup of broccoli. And there's usually like a general consensus, although that's not always the case. For broccoli, I believe it's usually 10 grams total carbs plus with 4 grams of fiber, so your total is 6 grams of carbs for that cup of broccoli. So that's just kind of the easy way to do it. You might also want to watch out for sugar alcohols on prepackaged foods. They're not supposed to affect diabetics, but I've noticed that for me, sometimes they affect me. I have these like snack bars that I eat, that I started getting because they said 3 grams of net carbs on them. And they act, because they have 10 grams of sugar alcohols, they act like they have 13 grams of carbs in them when I eat them. So I always have to be like, all right, this has 13 grams of carbs, not 3. So I always, when I eat one of those, I'm either, my blood sugar is too low, or I'm hungry and I want a snack and I have to take insulin for it. That's just you just have to figure that out for your body. I don't know why sugar alcohols affect me. They're not supposed to, but they do. It's very fun. People are like, oh, how do you know how much insulin to take for carbs? Your endocrinologist will help you figure that out. I think for me, I'm on, my number is kind of different. I was recently diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, and that has insulin resistance as part of it. So I have type 1, but then my body also doesn't like to use insulin properly. So that's real fun for me. But for every 3 grams of carbs I eat, I have to take 1 unit of insulin, which is a really, really, that's a lot. Most type 1s don't have to take that much insulin. It's just, for me, that's the way it is because of the other conditions that I have. So your endocrinologist will help you figure out your ratio for how much insulin you need to take. So another part of a healthy lifestyle is getting physical activity. And that's really important for type 1 diabetes. It can't fix it, but it can lower the amount of insulin you need to take, because when you exercise, your cells want to use more sugar, so they need insulin to let sugar into the cells. So more insulin receptors pop up on the cells, letting more sugar through and making it easier for your body to use the insulin in your body. So exercise lowers your blood sugar because all that sugar is going into your cells and being metabolized. So you need to be careful about it, but you do need to get exercise. Check your blood sugar before, during, and after you exercise. Make sure to exercise safely. Talk to your doctor about it beforehand. You have to be really smart about exercise. Well, that's about it for today. My camera battery is about to die because I need to charge it. Next time I will move on to something different. This is a really interesting topic, but I want to do something maybe a little bit more fun. Since I'm back at school, I have a little bit more time to do research now. Since my class year doesn't start quite yet, it starts on Wednesday, so that'll be fun. It's my last first day. It'll be great. But that's all I have time for today. Next time will not be another all about diabetes video. It'll be something more fun. You'll find out about that in a couple weeks. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to learn more about diabetes from a patient perspective, please subscribe below. As always, I will see you all in a couple of weeks. Stay healthy. Bye.